In this video, I want to answer the question, can we measure behaviors to see how habitual they've become? Watch this video to learn more. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a way of measuring our behaviors to figure out how much of a habit they become? So for instance, maybe we get 8.5 on the habit scale and we'd know that we're almost there. We've got 8.5, we just need to push it up another 1.5 more for it to become a fully ingrained habit, or 10 on the scale. Well, this thing kind of already exists, but not really. So there's a very famous study with habits that was done not long ago, and that's the one where they found out that on average, it takes around 66 days to form a habit. In that, the scientists needed to figure out a way of measuring habits, and the best thing that they came up with was this self-reporting habit index. What it is a series of 12 statements, and you have to answer these statements with a number from 1 to 7. Number 1 is where you strongly disagree with the statement, and number 7 is if you strongly agree with the statement. The higher your score after grading all these statements, the more of a habit your behavior has become. So what are these questions then? Let's run through them. Question 1. Behavior X is something I do frequently. Question 2, behavior X is something I do automatically. Question 3, behavior X is something I do without having to consciously remember. Question 4, behavior X is something that makes me feel weird if I do not do it. Question 5, behavior X is something I do without thinking. Question 6, behavior X is something that would require effort not to do it. Question 7, behavior X is something that belongs to my daily, weekly, or monthly routine. Question 8, behavior X is something I start doing before I realize I'm doing it. Question 9, behavior X is something I would find hard not to do. Question 10, behavior X is something I have no need to think about doing. Question 11, behavior X is something that's typically me. Question 12, behavior X is something I've been doing for a long time. So how do you use this scale? Well, think of a behavior that you do. Let's say you're trying to ingrain a book reading habit, and each day you sit down and you read your book. You should run through all of those statements in the context of reading a book. So is it easy to you to sit down and read a book? Does it become automatic? And so on. And grade each of the statements between 1 and 7. So what's your score? The highest is 84. The higher the number out of 84, the more habitual it has become. The lower the number, the more effort, the more willpower, the more struggle is required for you to actually make the behavior happen. So what's the practical use of this? Does this really help us in any way if we're trying to build habits? Honestly, no. I don't think it's really got any use for us. It's very useful for scientists to measure habits, but for us, if we're just trying to ingrain habits in our life, are we going to use this scale regularly to see if it's working? Not really, because all we really need to know is that if we do something for a long enough period of time and we keep reinforcing that behavior, then eventually, over time, it will become habitual. And adding a number to that, adding a score to that doesn't really help, doesn't really make any difference. So while it's nice to know that scientists have this interesting way of measuring habits, does it really change what we do on a daily basis? No, I don't think so. We just keep on building our habits, we keep enforcing those behaviors, and over the long term, things will become easier and more automatic. So in summary, scientists have a way of measuring how habitual behavior has become. They use what's called the self-reporting habit index, but it's not really useful or important for us. If we're trying to build habits, forget about it. Just keep on keeping on. Hope you like this video. If you do, like my video, subscribe to my channel. See you next week.